So, have you considered that failure could be a good thing? Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Creative Exploration series. I'm kind of working on a new format for this series, so bear with me. You notice that there's a new intro. I'm trying to go with less script and more just off-the-cuff talking, and I'm not wearing my headphones so you can see my ears. Thumbs up for that. So this week, I wanted to talk about failure and just kind of the ramifications of what failure is and what it can become if you let it. And often people consider failure to be this terrible, permanent outcome that doesn't really have any state beyond it. Like, once you fail, like, that project is done and you can't do anything else with it. But it's not, at least I don't consider it an end state. Like, there's always more things that you can do when you learn from a failure. Because failure is learning, and that's really, really important to keep in mind when you do fail, because everybody obviously does fail from one time or another, especially in creative projects. And the best way to learn from your failures is to know what you don't do next time. So if you do something wrong in one project, you have learned that you shouldn't do that same thing again in the next project because you know that it doesn't work. And I think a lot of people consider failure as a kind of reason to quit and to just stop doing what they're doing. But that's how you learn. You have to learn and get better to continue to progress as an artist in whatever vocation you're working on. And it's not a reason to quit, but it's a reason to try again and do better this time. And also, another thing that I see a lot online is that failure should not be equated to the time invested. Like, some people seem to think that if you invest more time on a particular project, it's more guaranteed to succeed because of it. And that's absolutely not true at all. You can definitely spend years and years on a project and it can still fail because it's just not either the right market or it's just not like the project that's destined to succeed. I don't want to get all destiny on everybody, but it's one of those things where just because you spend a lot of time on a project, it doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to succeed. And there's this interesting tweet that I found from Fulmer Kelly, and it's actually what kind of spurred this entire talk. So I'm going to have the picture up there, but I'll read the part that really resonated with me. So, what bugs me is that whenever someone puts a failed game post-mortem out there, they feel the need to tell people to not bother getting into indie games at all. Please try doing the thing you want to do. As with any creative endeavor, finding success and making a living off of your passion is hard. And you shouldn't assume that effort put in will automatically translate to money earned. You probably shouldn't spend 5 years on a project starting out, and be aware of the challenges and difficulties that come with creating. None of that means you shouldn't follow your dreams. And I found that really powerful. I kind of paraphrased, I jumped around a little bit in the quote, but the whole thing was up there. I found that really powerful because it's so easy to put a lot of time and effort into one project and have it not really go anywhere. And then you feel really crestfallen and you just don't want to do anything anymore relating to that particular style of art. But that's how you learn. That's how you get better at it. And that's how you succeed in the future, is learning all of these mistakes. There's definitely resources online that allow you to learn from other people's mistakes, but honestly, they can only get you so far. You need to have that personal experience with failure to understand and kind of internalize how all of it works together. And, it's okay to feel down after you fail and feel just super bummed out and not really want to work on anything. But as long as you understand that depression pretty much is temporary and that you can get back into it in the future, that's really all you need. And it's just not a reason to quit, because failure is just a step in your progression as an artist. And beyond that, going back to the quote, the failure is really not a reason to complain, especially if it's complaining about factors out of your control. Like if some other big release came along when your game came out. Like I know a lot of people have been talking about Battleborn, how it just kind of got stomped by Overwatch because Overwatch came out around the same time and Battleborn just got swept under the rug. It's really unfortunate because I've heard really good things about, both games, really. But when you fail, you can just take time to figure out what happened. Like, were you in the wrong market? Were you advertising to the wrong people? Or did you just have the wrong feel to the project as a whole? Like, was your album just not the right feel? Especially if you're new, it's really hard to get the right feel for your project, whether that be a game or just a piece of art or music or anything, really. I already mentioned like bad release time, just trying to figure out what else is coming out around the same time you want to put your thing out, or if you didn't spend enough time on it, or conversely, if you spent too much time on it. I'm a strong believer that you can over polish something and then it loses all of that little style and all of those little foibles that made it yours, and it just you can polish it into this really bright, shiny thing that's kind of generic. And maybe that's just the way that I run things. But in the very least, taking time to just step away and look at the project in a mindful fashion will allow you to figure out what happened, and you can store that information and make sure that it never happens again. And that's really the most important part. Like, you can either write it down or just internalize it. Like, you can just memorize all the things that went wrong to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And I like I said at the beginning of this video, I find this one of the most important things that you can do to just understand how all of this works and how you can progress as an artist by learning through your failures. And I think that failing is something that you shouldn't strive towards, but you should definitely embrace when it happens. So do you have any thoughts to add on this topic? I will be responding to comments in the comment section below. And if you found this video interesting, please consider liking and subscribing to this channel, because I will be making a lot more of these in the future, and it really, really helps. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Be remarkable.